when I've been corresponding with Will about this and saying, so why would anyone possibly argue against this? And the argument against increased transparency, there's a lot of things we're calling transparency that I'm sure all fall into that category, is that you can't float any idea when it's totally public. You have an offbeat, crazy idea in the legislature and you want to say, how would this work? And if it's too transparent, this is what, I'm not saying this, but I'm hearing this said, then you're going to get your throat jumped down by a lot of people who just jump right onto the blogosphere and say, you said what? You said we should try to decrease spending on that item, or whatever the idea is. So I'm wondering, in practical terms, I think we're all really agreed in this room that transparency is important in improving the climate in which we operate. It's important in increasing the trust in how we operate. But are there consequences in what the legislature actually does? Can it do its work effectively or more effectively with increased transparency?
I think, let me just respond quickly to that. I mean, because there's transparency and there's transparency and there's transparency. I mean, right now we're talking about the part that I don't think, I've never heard anybody push back on, which is, if you're spending the taxpayers' money, it should be, A, spent according to basic common sense business practices, and the taxpayers should be able to see what you spend it on. That's simple. That's easy. And that's when we don't have that now. Now, after that, then you can go to all kinds of different levels of transparency about open meetings. Now, there's 160 people in the legislature. So nobody's ever going to, I mean, in the House, thank you. That's right. 160 people in the House.
In the legislature.
40 senators, 160 reps. And, two of them can go sit down and have a beer, and you're not suggesting that should be on camera every time that happens. I mean, nobody would say that. That's not a quorum of the body. 2 people can sit and brainstorm, and, 3 people can sit and brainstorm, and nobody's taking away people's ability to have to think. That's just not on the table. You couldn't get there. It's too big a process. And
it would be problematic. I mean, you have to have the ability to have private meetings, and 2 people have to be able to have a conversation.
So the objection being raised is not substantively.
It's just not where we're going. It's just not. We're so far from that it's just not an issue. I mean, we're down here trying to get some basics done. I mean, this sort of total fishbowl model, you just can't get there. And so I don't think it's a concern really.